G'day folks, this is Angela from Tarot as Art. I have a precious day off from working in store, and I'm going to take the opportunity because Nova Mundi, the wonderful deck collector, deck enthusiast and deck creator, hashtagged me in her most recent prompt, which I absolutely thought was genius, which is hashtag collectors mass market must have decks. There's 13 prompts. I had to read it. I've got a list. I've got my list. There's 13 prompts, so we'll start here with the 13 prompts. Yes, folks, I still handwrite. That's what I'm doing. So we'll start straight away. The first prompt is an oldie but a goodie. So I can't veer away from an oldie but a goodie and the most recent incarnation of it. Now, of course, the caveat here is that you can get online and buy these mass market as we speak. So there's nothing here that's mass market, apart from if I want to compare it or look at it, that you can't buy. This is brilliant. They've done a great job of this. The most recent incantation of this deck came in this box here, which is the tin, which I loved, and I've used the hell out of. I think you can still get the tin as well. It comes with this sort of little, it's not really a book, it's sort of fold out thing. I won't waste everybody's time. The backs are the classic modern backs with the, and that's the size, right? And it feels great in the hand, and these have been very well shuffled and beautiful cards. Now, I always recommend the tin for travel. I love it. I love tin decks. This is fantastic for a number of reasons. One, because it's just brilliant. Hardcover box. It's given the book it deserves. This book by Craig Georgoulis, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, is outstanding. It's got the thumbnails, beautiful quality paper. The back is all the classic spreads. I think there's numerology in it, the planets. Everything's in this book. Chakras, the conscious, developing your psychic abilities. This is a classic tarot book, and what an inspired moment to put it in with this deck. So you can buy it all together. I think it used to get sold separately. So here it is. I'll just go in a bit. Okay. You've all seen it, but I don't care. I'm going to show it. David Palladini. This goes into his background. He was, I think, a lot like Andy Warhol, you know, a commercial artist. There's Art Deco influences. There's 1970s influences. And this modern incarnation cardstock is fantastic. They're the backs. And it's a pure, easy reader. I'm sorry about if there's any noise. There's some building going on. Of course, every time you want to do any of these videos, something always happens nearby. So, okay, this is the 1970s version of this deck that I also have and had, which comes with that little booklet, and here are the backs. Much better. Yes, yes. I thought maybe they bring these back, but they didn't. Now, the cardstock is that beautiful 1970s cardstock. I'm just putting it over the old ones because, you know, there's no chance of a muddle up. And it's not as white in terms of the background. It's sort of more cream, which I also prefer. It sort of does soften the images that can be sort of a little bit stark. But I guess for me, it draws, I bought recently, I'm a collector, right? So I bought this, let me see if we can get it, this pop rock pop-out calendar that I found on eBay actually. And it came from the US, 1972. These are pop-out tarot cards. I haven't popped them out, right? Scholastic Book Services, New York, Toronto, London, Auckland, Sydney. Auckland got a gig. The pop, and it's just brilliant. I don't know if you can see it. I've got Janis Joplin here on the dates. I don't know, George Harrison's in February. I don't know if these are their birthdays or what have you. And she feeds you tea and oranges that come all the way from China, right? And that's the great lyrics. Oh, I can't think of his name now. Leonard Cohen. And there we go, Juno. This is absolutely, I mean, it's so me, The Who. I'll just, I don't know if you, June, July, August, let it be, September, October. I see a bad moon rising. I love it. I love it. November, the sun. Here comes the sun. I shall be released again. I think that might be Leonard Cohen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because the world is round, it turns me on. December. And then it's got the history of tarot, which I won't go into because I'm not sure it'd be accurate. I haven't read it yet. And there's the Celtic cross. And here's more of the cards at the back. And it opens up. And a lot of this artwork does remind me of David Palladini. I quickly did a sort of run through on that deck, on that calendar, sorry, on my Instagram. But these are, this is, for me, a beautiful reader, a beautiful deck. It's a Rider-Waite deck, and it doesn't give you a headache when you read it. It's clean and crisp with its messages. And I think it has a cool Aquarian vibe. I think it does have that. So that's number one. What a deck. What a deck. And what an artist he is. Okay, I didn't love the other one that he bought out, the new something. I'm not a big fan. I'm still, you know, I still want to look at it. But anyway, let's go to number two, an RWS tarot deck. Okay, again, keeping in mind, these are not my favorites. These are decks you can easily buy. My favorite RWS deck, of course, would be the yellow box or the blue box from the 1970s. Here's the blue box. And I have a few, and the yellow, this is the Blushing Fool from the US. I don't use the Blushing Fool, but the other ones in store I do use. I don't use the modern yellow. I like the cardstock, and I've got a lot of them from the 70s. I've even got one from the 90s, which I think is in the suitcase, so I won't take that out currently. And I prefer that cardstock. But in terms of collectors and what you can buy now, okay, the Universal Weight. I do have the current version. Again, it's in the suitcase. I'm not going to go and get it out. This is the 70s version. Why I love this version is the 70s or the 90s. I'm not really sure. Actually, I'm not super sure on that. There's the wonderful front. But it hasn't changed in terms of its colours and what it is. Here it is. Here's the book. Let me just have a look and see. US Games again. Whatever. I love US Games. Doesn't really have a date on it. And of course, Mary Hanson Roberts did this art. 1991. So corrected. This is the 90s version. I thought it came out in the 90s. And it's got that nice glossy paper. So it's not like crappy. It doesn't look like the paper's going to tear or anything. And you can reuse it. Why do I think it's a collector's edition? Because folks, it's beautiful. That's why. It's stunning, and it's so, the colours are amazing. Like the blues, it's very rarely uses pure black. It does here in the flag, but if you look at the soldier on the knight on the horse of death, there's midnight blue, navy blue, all sorts of blues. And that's, I love the range of colours in this deck. The yellows, the citrines, the oranges. And here's the cover card. I mean, look at this devil card. I love colourful decks, and I like the glossy paper and I love the backs. And I think even the current version does keep those backs in this size. I think that there might be another size as well that's different. Again, look at those colours. And she did a great rendition of this classic deck. I just think it's all collectors should have it. Look at, again, the blues. We're going into a navy at the top there. We're going into sort of a royal blue, Prussian blue, light blue. Look at the ice, the blue in the ice. An icy blue. It's just, and the background in this again, it's not black. It's this sort of deep, deep chocolatey brown. It's just the line work is amazing. The Emperor. And look at his face. Crown that wears, heavy that wears the crown. Look at it, the detail. This is for sure a collector's deck. And if you can buy it, do buy it. And this particular one I got this 90s version off eBay because I've got the modern version. And I wanted to compare the two. So I'm quite confident that they're both excellent. This has been, it's got an incense smell about it when you open the box, and I can't get rid of it, and I don't want to. It's beautiful. And if anyone can tell me how to get any of my other decks smelling like that, I'd love to know how they did it. Every time you open the box, this aroma comes out. It's like frankincense. And again with the blue, again with grief. It's not directly black. It's this beautiful, it looks like to me pencils. She's coloured it in with beautiful thick pencils, those Derwents or something similar. That cape again, it's like indigo and mixed with a sky blue, and it's just beautiful. What a deck this is. So I think for any collectors, and I say that because Albano Weight may be my favourite sort of RWS as well, because I've got many, but the modern version, and this is not disrespecting anyone else's opinion on it, is not to me so accurate in terms of his colour scheme as was his deck, which I have, right? So I do have his deck here. It sits in this little sort of pouch, and this is the 68 version, I think, of it, 1968. And the purples in that are very different from the purples and the violets and the lavenders, or however you want to describe the colour in the modern deck. And that upsets me, so that's why I didn't bring it out. Otherwise, that original version is, you know, very close to my heart as well, but not so much the modern version. Okay, I love RWS. I do. A non-Marcier Pip deck. Well, I guess this is one for the collectors, right? I had a lot of trouble with this. And I'm a collector, so really the Grand Italia from Aliette here, the Egyptian Gypsies Tarot, right? And why I'm choosing this is, one, you can get it currently on Amazon. I think I got this on Amazon. And it's an excellent deck for collectors. One, it's beautiful. The backs, you know, are beautiful. The fronts are outstanding. I mean, it's I think it's called, I don't know. Sorry, I thought there was a pencil mark. The quality that you get is great. I don't know. This is not Marseille, so I don't know what you call it. I think people do call it Picard, but I don't know too much about it. I'm not one of those people that sort of nerds out on historical decks. I nerd out on a lot of things, don't get me wrong, but I'm not into that as yet. And this has upright and upside down meanings, like we've got love and we've got desire. And here's the pips. And they've got, the Four of Cups boredom, which can be that. or misfortune. Parent or relative for the 5, or heritage. So, you know, it doesn't really follow RWS either, this system, right? Some do, some don't. But you know, the images are fantastic, and I think he's a great esotericist. And there's some great writings for him, which I've, you know, often quoted on my Instagram site, if you have a look. And I think there was a deep study of the tarot. I think at that point they did think that you know, they had that idea that they were brought to the to Europe from the Romani people or the Gypsies through ancient Egyptian texts, and there's, you know, the folklore there, but I think that's been disproved by modern historians and scholars, but that's fine. We still love the decks, and we still love the idea of, you know, you can understand how they went to ancient Egypt, and you can understand the logic of sort of the Romani people sort of maybe picking it up. Look at this deck. I mean, look at these. Home, game of chance, and you know, there you are with the protractor, or that mathematical instrument, and here you are. It's a very esoteric deck as well. Deception and fulfillment, realization. Highly recommended. The quality's great. I love it. Who's the publisher? I don't know. It feels like it's a beautiful size on the hand. It's not too thick, and it's got a length to it. Dossier Cartomancy. I don't know who that is. The point is, the truth be told is, yes, you can get it on Amazon. I don't know. I looked this week, and it was still available. Because I never saw this apart from seeing it in sort of eBay on Vintage, and it's very affordable, so it's a mass market price. So, yep, there it is. And I suspect others will show this deck as well. But, you know, I'm doing, you know, my list. A Mercier pip deck that's still available. Well, yes. This is my favourite, so this is easy. You can get the Spanish Tarot currently, and I don't think it's a bad incarnation of this original version, right? I'm showing the older version because the other one again is in my suitcase, and I'm not going to get it out. But if you do want this deck, you can go online and get it, and of course the publisher is Bernier, made in Spain. And I think no one, they're the backs. I love the size, I love the colors, and it just completely outshines, let's say, I think it's the CBD deck, which is, I think, a Conva incantation. The colors are, I mean, look at all these blues. Again with the blues. I'm a blue person. I'm not just a blue person, but I love variation. Like, again, indigo, sky blue, royal blue, Prussian blue. It's all here. The tangerines, the oranges, the reds. I mean, we've got variation. I guess the CBD tarot just looks black. It just looks black, yellow, and I don't know what the other color. I mean, it's just got 3 very primary colors and that stark white background. I'm not a fan. I have it. I'm not a fan. Look at this, lavender, and look at the 2 purples. And look at the beautiful, beautiful, just the flowers, and look at the expression on her face. Look at this horse. It's the calendar of, honestly, it's a French lavender. And then you've got the pink. The pink as well. Look at this. Probably one of my most favourite cards. You know, it's like the Holy Grail. Look at the colours and the variation. I mean, I love colour. And I guess one of the prompts later on, I'll explain, I mean, there's a Hermetic Tarot that is a very classic deck for collectors. Now, I'm not putting it in this showcase because it's black and white. I can't read a black and white deck. I put it out, I put a tableau out, and I have to look very carefully. It takes me a long time to sort of gather what it's talking about. It's too much, too long to look at. It just sort of jars me. And I did notice that Nova did start colouring that tarot deck in. And I'm thinking maybe she should, and maybe she should publish it and I'd buy it. Or I'm thinking, I don't get the time to colour it in, but if she puts it on MPC or the other Gamecraft, I think some of her decks are on now. Nova, think about it. Because I love that deck and I can't use it. There's a shout out. Look at all those grains. I can tell the difference between the wands and the swords without thinking about it, without looking too hard. The CBD, it took me ages. It took me ages. It's just too much. I don't want to compare one to the other, but I want to explain why I love this. And I guess every time you see one of my videos, you find out about me. And that's something else I want to talk about. We'll get to not just me, about the humanness of the tarots I'm choosing, the human quality, the sensibility that went into creating them and how they appear and how they're to be sort of used. I'm pretty anti-AI, I have to tell you, in terms of decks. Ideologically, I am. An underrated artist's deck. Okay, I think this is underrated because I never see anyone talking about it. And I love it. And again, US Games. Okay? Let me just... A Jeopardized Tarot. Right? By Nino Jeopardize. Brilliantly presented. And I think... Nino's an artist. I mostly keep them in boxes, but these are sort of succinct boxes, so this is a good, nice box. The book is, again, shiny, and we've got this wonderful, beautiful, beautiful explanation and pictures of the cards. This is a masterpiece of a deck, and it's a masterpiece of artistry. I haven't edged it yet. I'm planning to edge this one. I'm still thinking about the colour. That's the beautiful backs. And again, it's got this beautiful, the covering card is there. So... And this is what I like. When we change the names of the cards from the traditional names, we have a card, so we quickly look at it if we want to start reading with it that day, especially when you're working and you've got a few decks and you're starting, and sometimes we get back-to-back readings and there may be plenty of those happening. So you've got, you know, the page is the jester, the knight is the stranger, the queen, the king. And you quickly look at it and remind yourself so you don't have too much of a problem with it, right? But the artwork of this deck is unbelievable. And I just never see anyone talking about it. I mean, this, as the love card, it's a puzzle, isn't it? It's just a little puzzle. It looks like a puzzle that you'd put together, which tarot is. You're sort of regurgitating and trying to put pieces together of blocks, motives, actions, potentials, what was, what is, what can be. You're putting all that together and you're creating something. And love can be difficult like that. The Fool. Just an absolutely outstanding, the Stranger of Tides. Look at that card. Again, the blues. The Nine of Gardens. And War. And here you get the contrast of no colour. Perfect. The Hermit. I can't rave about this deck. And the quality too that US Games came up with. Those that were pearls that were his eyes. It's a quote from T.S. Eliot. The Wasteland. Madame Sosostris was a tarot reader in that story, in that poem. It's an epic. Look at these cards, guys. I just never see anyone talking about this deck. Anyway, it's absolutely brilliant. Highly recommended. We'll move on. Thank you, US Games, for that. The next deck is a historical deck, I think. A historical deck. Okay, well, this is a collector's. There's a million historical decks I could bring out. There's the Solabusca, there's the Visconti decks, and all the Marcier decks, of course. And I have to go to the Visconti, and I'll show you Los Cabarets version. And I got this from Italy, from the Visconti Sforza castle when I was there in Milan. And I love this version of it because it's got the gold sort of leaf on it. And I think that makes it sort of the amazing deck that it is, and showcases just the luxury of what it would have been to have this deck, because the Visconti, he was the Duke of Milan, and the Sforza family was obviously very strong as well. This is the book that you get with it. I've got the museum version of this. I've got the non-gold version of this, all from Lo Scarabeo. And I think, you know, even the book in the museum one isn't great. So I didn't bother with it. This is a tuck box and amazing. These are the wonderful backs. I think you just can get online and get this. I don't know if you can get the museum version at all. But I think every collector should have this deck. And I think this version is excellent. And I think the museum one might actually be the Mondrone, not the Sforza. So there are variations in the cards, because there were a few cards. I think Death is one of them, and maybe the Devil that are missing. Don't quote me on that, but there are a few. I think this one was created for the celebration of the marriage between the two families. And it was a game. Was it used for fortune telling? Depends who you read, I guess. But it's just outstanding. And I love, I have to edge it in black. I haven't gotten around to this one because it's from Italy. So my trip was this year. But I'll get to it. And there's many decks like this that they've got, you know, the Klimt deck and the Botticelli deck and the Tarot of Nefertiti. They've all got that beautiful gold leaf on them as well. And, you know, they're screaming out to be edged. And these edge well. They get a nice gloss to them when they edge as well. But, you know, if we go back to the beginnings of tarot, I think this is the earliest, most complete tarot deck there is. And it's easy to get. You've probably all seen it, so I'll stop. And I'm just sort of so impressed by the Florentine backs that are on them. Just this beautiful you know, beautiful blacks. They just remind me of Florence. Although, of course, this is from Milan. So let's move on now to the next one. A deck by a renowned artist. Okay, I think everyone's probably gonna, you know, I know a lot have discussed this already, but I'm also one of them. And this is the Dali, and this is the Taschen big book version. And it is mass market. You can get, I'm pretty sure you can still get it. If you type it in, Taschen Dali, I think you can get it. So if you want it, it's there. So you get this great big book, and you get the deck that's in this sort of gold box. That might come out like that. And it comes with this beautiful sort of book, which is very detailed, but then you get this front bit of the book, how to read the cards, and it's illegible. Taschen, what the hell? You cannot read that gold lettering on that purple. This should have been white. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's my version or all the other versions, but anyway, that's that. Now I'll just put that all down. But I think you can just get it. Basically, I think US Games also have the right to it, because I also got the, you know, some limited gold edition. This isn't, it's very dusty. It always, these things get a lot of dust. I'm pretty sure though you can just get online and get it from US Games, but don't quote me on that, because it's got this book. It's okay. The guidebook's okay, but Rachel Pollack did, Johannes Feiberg did this. Rachel Pollack did a great book to this, and I've got that, but I won't bring it out just at this minute. I think I've shown it before on my channel. But, you know, here we are with the great backs. Universal Dali covering card, you know, all the classy decks. And I think I've said before that Dali is a genius. Understood the cards, because he got his cards read every day. I think Gala, his wife, who's in this deck in many incantations, I think she's the Empress, read his cards. He understood the cards. And to me, he's the, look at this height. I mean, seriously. This to me is the first collage deck, because he collaged his own art and others. And I think he was commissioned to do this in the early 70s. I don't know when it became mass market. I think the 80s, I'm not sure. It's certainly mass market now. And yeah, that agrees with his sensibility. I mean, he put himself as the king of coins in this deck. He was, maybe that's why people don't like him, because he was very upfront about the commercialization of art, and how much the relationship between finances and art, and as Andy Warhol was. But he didn't hide his lust for that there is, and as the magician. I think it was a love-hate relationship with him and everything that went with his art. But I mean, I'm probably not allowed to show that now. What a deck. Is it the most beautiful deck ever created? I think so. I think so. There's the back, which is in the middle. For me, yeah. And it's got occult symbols on it and everything. There's Gala here. Here's Gala. Just an absolutely magnificent eye and mind. And can we separate the person from their art? I don't know. I don't really look into that. I just look into what I'm seeing in front of me and what it says to me. and it says a lot. So this for me is a definite must, because the artists themselves conceived of it. I mean, there was a competition between this and the William Blake Tarot, of course, which is a rendered. The artwork was put to the tarot, and I think this for me is it is a beautiful deck. One of my favorites, that is, as well. But the artist created the deck. This is completely different. He understood tarot, and I think there was intention in it. So let's put that back in this box. But as I said, it is available mass market, and if you don't have it, you're missing out. And if you can get the Rachel Pollack book, which didn't come with it, I think you can get that on eBay as well. I got that when it was originally published, which was lucky, I guess, because she became just bigger than Ben-Hur, really, and I didn't know that when I bought the book. A deck by a renowned occultist. So we've got Dali, and in the next breath we've got, of course, Aleister Crowley. Now, how can we not? Now, I love the US Games version of this deck. So this has really been something of a... I thought I'd have more Los Cabrera decks because I do love those. But, hey, we've seen here today that there is a lot. This is the my Greenie Thoth that I bought for $16. When the deck first came out, I didn't think anything of it. I put it in a bag now because I threw away the box. This is the US Games version, right? That's the Greenie. This is what you can get now, which I still love. I love it. I've got the other ones as well, right? And I trimmed this, right? I mean, the other one, the box that you got originally with that one that I threw out was that box. But this is not US Games. This is, I think, Wiser. And there's a bit of a difference. I'm not going to go nerding out on the differences. It's the colours aren't as vibrant, but that's what the original box was like. Now, I know there's a lot of variations on this at the moment. US Games do one, and if I open my drawer here, which I won't, it's not in there. Oh, here it is. Thoth, and you can get it in this AGM Urania, do it. And I've got all the sizes in that, but I still prefer this. I still prefer the colours and the cardstock in this. It's, for me, perfect. And I'm going to get it again, and I'm going to chop it, and this time I'm not going to corner the edges, and I'm not going to write on, I've written on these cards. It's just something you can do, you know. And Nova Mundi, who's done the Dark Mother, that's a great deck, because a lot of the times I don't want the keywords when I'm reading for the public. They get too caught up in the one word, and they forget that, you know, they don't know that each tarot card can mean a million things depending on how it falls, where it falls in a spread, and what's going on. So that one you can't read the words properly, and it's easy to use. And the cardstock is fantastic. But this is just, here we go. To me, US Games is the best. And I'll show you the smaller version. This is, I've got the big version as well. I mean, if I move it, yeah, I have. I'll show you the bigger version. You know, I've got a lot of versions of this deck, but I got it because people are, you know, going on about it. What I liked about this is, I like, you know, it was different. Here it is, thinner cardstock, great backs, similar to the older backs, which were, you know, no border in the Greenie back, Greenie Thoth. But I'm not that wrapped for some reason. I just think this is a bit washed out. There's something washed out. Look at that. I mean, it's yellow. It's not. Look at this. how people like this deck. I mean, there he is, the great occultist himself. I mean, I don't think it's great. Apart from the backs. And that must be Lady Frieda Harris there. Yeah, on the other side with her. I mean, that's good about it. And I think I got a bit excited, you know, when I saw all the little extras that you get. And here we are here. But in terms of the cards themselves, I'm not that impressed. They're sitting in the drawer. They're just going to be there because I'm a collector. It's as simple as that. You can get that anywhere, right? But, you know, for me, he's the great occultist. He's the great occultist. And my favourite version, of course, it's my US Games Greenie Thoth. That's my favourite version. Not the Greenie Thoth that's up there with Wiser, and not the current one. But the current one is still, look at the blues in this. I mean, look at that. I just showed you the other Magician. I mean, that's just, to me, it's bright, it's vibrant, easy to read when you're doing on the table. Oh, I don't want to find it now because, you know, you look for something and you don't find. Here it is. I found it. Because the tarot gods are with me. Wow. And this is just the modern one, the one you get. Like, what the hell? What's going on with the colours here? I don't see anyone talking about it. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because, again, it's like, of course, everyone has their preference. Of course they do, right? So in store, it always sells out. So every time I sort of see it, I'm like, I'll go downstairs, and by the end of the day, the readings, and it's been sold. So I have to just wait till I see it again. But you can get it on any, you know, the big Amazon and all those places. And they're the original size of the decks, and that's the fantastic cardstock. So I will leave that there and get back to putting it away. So that's the great occultist, and we all know Aleister Crowley, and he's written his, you know, his many books on tarot and the occult, and we won't get into that. If you want to read them, do. And I guess if you understand Thoth and you want to work further with it, that's good, but I wouldn't really, I'm not sure you'd want to start with him. Maybe start with, well, if you want to start anywhere, I'll tell you where to start. Again, if you can get it still. Just quickly, so you know. Duquette is very good. I won't go into it. I've got it, but I won't try and get it out. The US Games version was fantastic again. And I'm not like, but I was very happy with it. And there's, of course, his Book of Thoth as well. The Master Theorin, Aleister Crowley. So there he is. Every collector's got to have that, I think. So let's move on to the next one. Number 9, a recent release. Okay, a recent release was interesting because, you know, I'm a collector, and when I buy a deck, right? I buy a deck sometimes just to use it because I'm a reader and quite a prolific reader. But also, I've got the, I don't buy a lot of decks for the sake of just buying them and looking at them. I'll be very careful. Well, one deck I did buy and was pleasantly surprised with was the Mindscapes Tarot. And I think this is going to become something that collectors will want, especially if it goes out of print. So this is, I think, Hay House, which I don't have many decks from Hay House. Tarot decks anyway. I think I might have Colette Baron Reid and a few other oracles, but this is beautiful. It's terrible cardstock. It's really thick and awful to shuffle. I don't like it, and it's hard for me. It's a good size. I don't mind the size. I just don't like the cardstock that much. But this is an incredible deck. The great work. I mean, there's a few extra cards. Look at this, the branches. Again, I need a card at the beginning just for the quick okay, well, we can understand that branches, you know, do I have to go to the book? Why don't I have a little thing? You know, coins, cups, what have you. Least favourite card is the High Priestess. Four of Tides. Stones. So I'm assuming that's earth and branches must be wands. I mean, I can't remember, and that's the thing. If we have the card, Tides, we'd work it out, wouldn't we? Page of King of Tides. The Lovers. But it's just outstanding. But what the hell is this cardboard thick stuff? Can someone explain why they like this? And it's going to come up again. I've got another deck it's coming up with. And I don't know. Maybe people say, yeah. Is it hard yet? I don't know. It's very hard to shuffle and it's hard on the hands. It doesn't bend. It doesn't bend. It hasn't got that bendy. It's got that crappy, I don't know, Two of Tides. But it's beautiful. So I'm going to put up with it. I think John A. Rice has done an amazing job of this deck. I tend to like people in my decks, although I have beautiful landscape decks. And, of course, the independent one that comes to mind is the Majestic Earth. But that has got a lot of people in the imagery as well as the landscapes. But this is very good. And I'm only picking this one as a recent release because I think it did get released this year. If I hadn't picked this one for a recent release, honestly, I would have gone to the Herb Crafters Tarot, which there's parts of this that remind me. There's a feel of this and that I'm getting from those decks. I've got to be honest, I haven't read the book, but it's good quality. And it's got that yucky rose petal. Again, I don't like all that. The box is nice. Prepare to embark. The box is nice. It has got that rose petal-y feel, but it's sturdy. So if I do take it in the suitcase, it's, you know, it's protected. But I do recommend this for collectors. I think in the age of the embryonic age we're at with AI, I think we are there. I think AI is going to do a lot of stuff. And I think these hand-drawn, hand-coloured, hand-painted, humanly conceived decks are something that are going to be part of something that's rare and precious. And to do it with such skill, right? To do it with such skill. I think that's just amazing. So John A. Rice, excellent, excellent, excellent. Highly recommended. A deck by a renowned deck creator. Well, how can I go past the amazing Anna Turian? And I know the other deck creator is Avalon. What's her name? Cameron. But I have to be honest, I bought this for her art. And I only really got to her art when I saw this. This is independent. But this is coming, I think, to US Games at the end of the year. I think that's on her website, Anna Turian's website, Oracle of Echoes and Tarot of Echoes. But don't quote me on the Oracle. I thought the Tarot deck, I'm not 100% sure. This is Blue Angel. So, again, we're going to have the problem that we just saw, right? Okay, we've got this thing here, okay. I quite like it. It does protect that a bit. Good box. Big, but good. And it has to be big because this is a great book. It's beautiful. Beautiful paper, glossy, and has some photos, I think, some pictures of the cards, which is good too. That's always useful. I haven't read it yet. And then we've got the deck. So that comes out nicely. And then we've got exactly the same type of, I don't know, this sort of thickish, unbendable, weird cardstock. I don't know what the original independent version of it was, but Blue Angel's mass market. If it was the same quality as the Oracle cards, that's what you want. Sort of thin, bendy, and, whoa, I can work with it, right? I can look at it, it's just so beautiful. Right, let me now try and do a fan with this deck to show you the problem. And I fan because I like, every time I try and get clients to shuffle, the cards just end up everywhere. So I think often after I shuffle, I do the fan. It's okay. I guess I've broken it in, but it's just, and it's hard. It's like, it's not user friendly. It's not easy to shuffle. I've edged it in teal to match the beautiful, beautiful blacks, but you can't, you know, the artwork is something else, isn't it? The artwork is just something to be admired. She really, look at that. I mean, that's on the box. She really is amazing as an artist. And again, to me, she feels like like John A. Rice. I think that there's something human about her artwork. I mean, look at these peacock feathers. I don't know the difference between this one and the independent one, of course, because I didn't get the independent one. But they may drop in price after, now that these are on, you know, you can get these. I mean, you can get this in Australia. You can get this deck for $35 at Big W, because Blue Angel are publishing it. And here's the beautiful back. So I just think that that's mass market Bonestone. I mean, and you know, if you want to get any other ones, I mean, I think as a collector you would get this. You can also get the Le Tarot Arthurian, which she did the artwork too, but that's in French. But it is mass market. So, and hopefully the Tarot of Echoes will get a chance to get in mass market version for all the people that came to Anna a little bit later and understood her genius. That happens to us. What can you say? But Blue Angel had picked her up in this deck. And in France, she's picked up as well. And I think also US Games have now picked up the Tarot of Echoes. So let's wait for that. But this is a great version of it. And for once in Australia, we can get something cheaply. Now, what's the next one? An important esoteric deck. Oh, I've missed one. Oh, I've missed one. Oh, an underrated deck as opposed to an underrated artist's deck, which was the Jeopardize. Okay, an underrated deck. This is, sorry, I missed one, so I'm out of order. Oh, dear. This, to me, is one of the best oracles I've ever had. I've got 2 copies of it because I love it. When I got it, it was $17. That's how mass market it was, right? I always rave about it. It has a little doobie here in the box. Beautiful edging. The back's that beautiful mint green. And what a beautiful, beautiful deck it is, right? That's how that will sit, like that. This is unbelievable, this deck. It's like little Polaroids. It's got a vintage feel. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. The cardstock is wonderful. It's a good thinness. If the other 2 decks had this thinness, I think they would have been perfect, rather than that sort of unbendy quality. And then you get the rose petally box. It's nonsense. Anyway, This deck also comes, I have to tell you something, with these books. If you want to buy them separately, again, mass market, anything, Amazon, anywhere. This one is The Gentle Chaos, and what it is poems, tales, and magic, and it goes through the deck, right? And you get the pictures of the beautiful cards in bigger format, and you get like a poem. In the rose and satin, he stirred and awoke, an unnatural occurrence, and go on. It was seen by none, but nonetheless glowed pink with the vapours of ephemerality and a new life, stretched and yawned against lightning that illuminated his face and his chest. Some of the poems in this are just out. There's another one. That wasn't my favourite, which I loved it. I just read it for the first time. I haven't gone through it in that much detail, but some of the poems have already, when I was flicking through it, I couldn't believe what I was reading. It's just quite amazing. And haunted and sensitive. I've always been a sensitive child. As soon as that starts, I'm in. And then you can also, because buy this, which is Gentle Chaos Guided Journal, right? This is Ghost Honey, who's the maker. And sometimes it gives you prompts. Who are the people who most helped you become who you are? It's got little poems everywhere. It's just stunning. I don't know, let me just see if you can, I don't know if you can see what I'm saying, but it's just stunning. So it's got journal prompts and again more poems, and it's just a very creative endeavor. And I think it's the most I never see anyone talking about it, and to me it seems like an independent deck rather than a mass market deck, and whoever picked it up was very clever. And I had a look the other day, and I know you can still get it. And even if you get this version of it, if you open the box up, you get your own book anyway, and that's got some more in it about each card, the chocolate rabbit, the mirror, and I think it's fantastic. For me, it's like the Tantric Dakini, right? There's something about it that's very mysterious, on point, vintage, and the Tantric Dakini is probably a deck I did want to bring into this this top 13 as a collectible, but others, if I had a choice, others surpass it. And of course, this is an underrated deck, and I don't think the Tantric Dakini is exactly underrated. So, you know, people show it all the time, so it didn't really fit the category. So this is the only Oracle deck that I've done. So I absolutely love it, and I hope that you've enjoyed looking at a few of the things around it. Okay, so here's the second last prompt. We're getting there. An important esoteric deck. Well, I've got the Book of Thoth by the Tarot of Italia again, and the Thoth, I think he's an important esotericist. You get the little book. It's Lo Scabareo. They've done a great job of it. I love the feel of it, the size of it, everything. But again, you don't get any sort of detail in the book. You'd probably have to study him and the deck. You know, you'd have to get a study book separately. It's essentially sort of a pip deck that uses reversals. I'm going to try and get some majors if we can. This is strength. It's beautiful and it's different and it's like nothing that you've ever seen. And I think every collector should have this deck. And there's a lot of versions of this. I've got the Los Cabrera version. I'm very happy with it. It's not a deck I use every day. It's not a deck that I would ever take to store. I'd only use it if someone, you know, sometimes people say, I want this deck, I want you to use this deck. That's fine. And if they pre-book, I can always bring it in. But otherwise, I don't need it in anything to protect it, because I'm just really, I've got it here for study purposes, historical purposes. So especially sometimes when I teach tarot and, you know, the historical figures that are important to tarot, including, you know, Crowley. He's also a very important creator. And this is a great deck to have on hand. And it's very, very esoteric, I think. So I think the Book of Thoth is there. And again, Los Cabrera, outstanding job in terms of size, bendability, beautiful cardstock. I mean, imagine if the two newer decks were on this fantastic cardstock and this fantastic size. It needs to be edged. This about, you know, where you can hold it like that in your hands. It's just unbelievable. So good on Los Cabrera. Now, in terms of the last question, this does sort of lead in very easily to the last question, which is a favourite mass market publisher. Now, Los Cabrera is a favourite, as is US Games. They're the two for me, really, that are sort of top-notch, bringing to the masses decks, you know. Well, you know, my favourite decks is probably sitting with them. For mass market. Now, I think this is a good example of what I want to talk about just briefly before I stop. Why Los Cabrera, why I'm sticking more with US Games than Los Cabrera as in a favourite, is because I think sometimes the books are better. The books with Los Cabrera, this is the Egyptian tarot. There is a tuck box version of this tarot as well, as there is a Cleopatra tarot that I've got as well, which I won't bring out now. As there is with many other of their tarots. There's nothing, and, you know, and the Solabusca, I've got the museum version. There's not enough information in the books to tell us who is in these pictures, who is in these images and what's exactly happening. I went and got this version of the Egyptian tarot because there's a tuck box, because it had a bigger book, right? And I haven't read it yet, in the hope that I'll understand what's going on in the picture, rather than give me a meaning of the card in one line. I mean, we're still getting that in the pips, but I'm still hoping I get a little bit more, because their little white book on their Egyptian tarot is just an old-fashioned 3 lines on the meaning of the card. It's like, what's the point? I don't know who's in the image. And yes, sometimes on the cards we get the name of the figure. It's just not enough. Right? And the cardstock is fantastic and the cards are fantastic. But, you know, so I got the Egyptian tarot, hoping, and I will get into it, that I get a little bit more out of it. And I got rid of the smaller version I had of it. But really, in terms of, and I can't find it now, I also got the Cleopatra tarot, which wasn't great either. I mean, it came in there's a deluxe version, but the deluxe version just has the bag, and here it is. The sort of weird. Here we go. We got this, and again, this comes in a little tuck box as well. So I got rid of that, thinking that this would be better. Yes, it is. It's got a bag. That's fine. That's lovely. I'm not saying anything about the bag. It's beautiful, but again, we get. You know, who is this? What is this figure doing here on the full? Okay, so then we get this book. This is the book we get. And all we get is the Fool, Bess, eccentric character, blah, 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 and a meaning. We get the name. Yeah, we got that. I mean, what is Cleopatra doing in this deck? It's really not clear. Where's Mark Antony? Where's Julius Caesar? I don't know. It's just Justice, the Hermit, the Wheel, Strength, Temperance, the Devil. It doesn't really... I wish it had explained a little bit more. The Lovers, like, let's see. Let's just see the Lovers, what it says. Because you would think in the Cleopatra deck, it's an easy choice card. And there's two lovers in her life that are, you know, Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. And they've picked, I don't know what. Let's see. Just quickly, if we can. This may take too long, so I may not do it. The Lovers, Hathor and Horus. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all a little bit not great, and I do wish that they, you know, do, because I think the images are probably complex, and I'd like to see what's behind, and I'd like a proper book with it. And if you're going to do a deluxe version, you're still giving me a little crappy paper book, so I got it for nothing, really. I should have just kept the little tuck box I had of it, but I went with this one. And I just want to contrast something like that. I mean, you know, that is a great example of not getting too many explanations. And contrast with that with, let's say we go to US Games. They did the Lover's Path Tarot. It's not in this series as anything. As a collector, I have it. I love the deck. I use the deck. I've got many versions of the deck. It usually does come in a tuck box. This is a box. This is the vintage box from US Games when this deck first sort of came out. So you could get the whole book like that. And you also got the deck in a tuck box version, which is great. A box within a box. Now, I've got 3 copies, just copies like this. But this came as an option because, and I know why, because we want to know more detail about the Lovers and the myths behind it. This deck is brilliant. The Lover's Path. You do get something in the little white book. I'm not saying you don't. Even that is quite good. But the book is excellent because it goes into all the detail, not just the names of this is Eloise and Abelard, or this is, you know, Tristan and Isolde. It goes into how it applies to the card, and the cards are brilliant. So US Games, you know, they sense often when you need a little bit more, and then you can get it. If you want to not spend as much, you can just get that book, and that book's okay. But if it was Los Cabareo, even that book would have been, that would have just been the names of who's in the picture and the traditional meaning of the cards. You're not getting anything about anything else, and I think that's really frustrating, and I think they can do better there. And they should, if they're going to bring out a deluxe version of a deck like a Cleopatra deck, they should have gone right into why they chose the cards they chose. And you would have thought with a Cleopatra deck that you would see historical figures sort of explained rather than just mythical figures, which, you know, will come up in all their Egyptian decks, which are brilliant, by the way. I love the look of them and I love the feel of them. But I'll stop there. I guess as a collector, you do want your mass market publishers to sort of, you know, be fantastic. And on the most part, we should be grateful, and we start with gratitude. But this is just me on my soapbox asking for a little bit more, especially of Los Cabareo, because I love the quality of their decks and the sizes and everything. I do have a good preference for that. And for, I guess if we want to talk about Blue Angel and Rockpool and even Hay House, perhaps you should consider this rose petal mania and sort of that cardboardy, thick decks. We want to use those decks, and that makes it very difficult if you're a reader, right? So I'll leave it there. They're just some of my thoughts and some of my feelings on it. Thanks. Bye for now. See you next time.